Ladies and gentlemen, every single one of us dreams of a better life, a better future, and a better world. But dreams alone are not enough. Wishing for change will never bring results unless we take the step forward to act. History is filled with examples where transformation only happened because someone had the courage to act, not just hope. Change is never given, it is created. If you want success, if you want progress, if you want transformation, then you must remember one simple truth. Take action if you want changes. Every single human being on this planet has dreams. Some want to be successful entrepreneurs, others want to be world-class athletes, artists, leaders, or simply better versions of themselves. And there is nothing wrong with dreaming. Big dreams are the seeds of progress. But here's the truth. A dream without action is like a seed that is never planted. It may look beautiful in your imagination, but it will never grow into a tree that bears fruit. Think about it. How many people say, one day I'll start my business, or one day I'll get in shape, or one day I'll change my life? That one day never comes because they never take the first step. Instead, years pass by and the dream remains exactly where it started, in their mind, untouched, unrealized, unfulfilled. The world does not reward wishes. It rewards action. Knowledge alone is not enough. Reading about success, watching motivational videos, or even attending 100 lectures will never transform your life unless you decide to put those lessons into motion. Action is the only bridge between where you are and where you want to be. History shows us countless examples. Thomas Edison didn't just dream of the light bulb. He experimented thousands of times until it worked. Mahatma Gandhi didn't just dream of freedom. He acted through movements and protests that inspired millions. Elon Musk didn't just dream of space exploration. He built rockets and tested them until success was achieved. None of them would be remembered if they had only dreamed but never acted. So ask yourself, are you living in a dream or are you building it brick by brick with action? Because without action, even the most powerful dream becomes nothing more than a comforting illusion. One of the biggest mistakes people make when they think about change is believing it has to be massive and immediate. They imagine that transformation means flipping their entire life upside down in one dramatic moment. But in reality, change rarely works that way. True and lasting change is built on small, consistent steps taken every single day. Think of a river carving through a mountain. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens drop by drop, flow by flow, year after year. Over time, the river shapes valleys, creates waterfalls, and changes the entire landscape. The same principle applies to your life. It is the small decisions you make daily that shape your future, not the rare big ones. For example, waking up just 30 minutes earlier every day to work on your goals might not seem like much, but in a year, that adds up to more than 180 extra hours of focused effort. Saving just a small amount of money each week might feel insignificant, but in a decade, it becomes financial security. Reading 10 pages of a book daily might feel minor, but in a year, you've read several life-changing books. The problem is people underestimate the power of small actions because the results aren't immediate. They expect instant gratification, and when they don't see overnight success, they quit. But the reality is, small steps compound. Just like compound interest grows wealth, compound effort grows success. Think of athletes, musicians, or writers who excel in their fields. They didn't become great in a single leap. They practiced daily, they improved gradually, and over time, those small actions added up to mastery. Even failures along the way didn't stop them because every small attempt, every effort pushed them closer to their goals. So never underestimate the power of small beginnings. Every great achievement in history started as a tiny step. The tallest skyscraper was built one brick at a time. The greatest journeys started with a single step forward, and the most successful lives were built on habits of consistent, small actions. Fear is one of the strongest forces that stops people from achieving change. Folks, it whispers doubts into your mind. What if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if I'm not good enough? These questions freeze us in place, trapping us in a cycle of hesitation. And as long as fear controls you, change will always remain just out of reach. Oh, but here's the truth. Fear exists only in the mind. Most of the things we fear never even happen. They are imagined roadblocks, shadows on the wall that look terrifying until we shine the light of action upon them. The moment you take action, you realize the fear was far greater in your head than in reality. Think about learning how to swim. At first, the water feels overwhelming, and fear tells you that you might drown. But the moment you step in, learn to float, and take those first strokes, the fear begins to shrink. Action replaces anxiety with confidence. The same applies in every area of life. If you fear speaking in public, the only way to overcome it is by speaking in public. If you fear failure in business, the only way to break free is by starting. Action doesn't just move you forward, it breaks the chains of fear that hold you back. Courage is not the absence of fear. Even the most successful people feel fear. The difference is, they do not let fear decide their future choice. They act despite it. And the moment they act, fear begins to lose its grip. Fear will always try to keep you comfortable, locked in the safety of the familiar. But comfort never creates change. Action does. The freedom you are searching for, the confidence you crave, and the success you dream of are all waiting for you on the other side of fear. And the only way to reach them is to act. Life will never be a straight road. It is filled with twists, turns, and unexpected challenges. Many people see obstacles as signs to stop, as proof that their dream is too difficult or impossible. But the truth is, obstacles are not meant to block your path. They are meant to shape your strength. And the only way to transform those barriers into stepping stones is through action. When you take action in the face of challenges, you begin to see them differently. A failure is no longer a dead end, but a lesson. A rejection is no longer humiliation, but redirection. A setback is no longer defeat, but preparation for something bigger. This shift in perspective only happens when you keep moving forward instead of stopping. Think about some of the greatest stories of human achievement. Every inventor, leader, or pioneer encountered obstacles. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before creating the light bulb. Each failure could have been the end, but instead, every failed attempt became a new piece of knowledge, a new opportunity to improve. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison, an obstacle that could have broken his spirit, but through resilience and action, he transformed that time into a symbol of hope and leadership for his nation. Obstacles test your commitment. They ask you, how badly do you want this? If your answer is to quit, then your dream ends there. But if your answer is to act, to push harder, to find another way, then that obstacle becomes the very reason you grow stronger and closer to your goal. When you take action, you start to discover possibilities hidden within challenges. A failed business can teach you the skills to build a better one. A difficult relationship can help you understand yourself and others more deeply. A personal struggle can awaken resilience you never knew you had. All of these opportunities reveal themselves only when you refuse to stand still. Obstacles will always exist, but they are not there to stop you. They are there to mold you into someone capable of achieving the change you desire. And the key to turning every challenge into an opportunity is simple. Keep acting, no matter how heavy the resistance feels. Many people believe that success comes from one big breakthrough, a single grand effort that changes everything overnight. They wait for that magical moment when they will suddenly achieve greatness. But real change doesn't work like that. It is not built on one massive burst of effort. It is built on steady, consistent actions repeated over time. Think of it like going to the gym. If you work out for 10 hours in one day and then never go again, your body won't transform. But if you exercise for just 30 minutes every day, week after week, month after month, you will see powerful, lasting results. Intensity may give you a quick spark, but consistency keeps the fire alive. The same principle applies to learning, careers, relationships, and personal growth. Reading one book in a rush may give you knowledge for the moment, But reading a little every day builds wisdom that stays with you for a lifetime. Spending a huge amount of time with someone once might be enjoyable, but nurturing that relationship regularly creates trust, depth, and strength. Consistency also builds habits, and habits shape your destiny. When you do something consistently, it becomes automatic, part of your identity. The person who writes a single page daily eventually becomes an author. The person who saves a small amount each week eventually becomes financially secure. The person who practices their skill consistently becomes a master. What stops most people is impatience. They want results immediately. When they don't see instant change, they quit. But success is like planting a tree. You don't see growth right away. You water it, care for it, and give it time. Then one day it begins to grow, and eventually it becomes strong enough to give shade and fruit. That's the power of consistency. Intensity can start the journey, but consistency is what carries you to the finish line. It's not about how much effort you give once. It's about how much effort you keep giving, even when no one is watching, even when progress feels slow. That quiet, steady discipline is what creates permanent transformation. One of the most overlooked truths about taking action is that it doesn't just change your life. It creates a ripple effect that influences everyone around you. When you act with courage, persistence, and determination, people notice. Even if you don't realize it, your choices can inspire someone else to start their own journey of change. Think about a parent who decides to pursue education later in life. Their child sees the effort, the discipline, the sacrifices, and begins to believe that learning is a lifelong process. Or consider someone who chooses to get healthy, eat better, and exercise consistently. Their friends and family may initially just observe, but over time, many of them feel motivated to take steps toward improving their own health. Leaders, inventors, and activists throughout history understood this principle. When Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat, her single act of courage inspired a movement. When Malala Yousafzai stood up for education despite threats, her bravery encouraged millions of young girls around the world to demand the right to learn. One person's decision to act can ignite change far greater than they ever imagined. But it's not only about famous figures. In everyday life, your small actions also set examples. If you show kindness consistently, others around you are more likely to do the same. If you work hard and stay disciplined, your peers or colleagues may find the motivation they lacked. If you chase your dreams despite fear, someone silently watching may finally gather the courage to chase theirs. This is the hidden power of action. It multiplies. What begins as a personal step forward can become a source of light for others. Without speaking a single word, your actions send a message louder than any speech. How change is possible. And when people see possibility, they begin to believe in themselves. My friends, change is not something that happens by chance. It is something that happens by choice. And that choice is made through action. You can dream, you can plan, you can hope, but until you move, nothing in your life will move. The world belongs to those who take bold steps, no matter how small, and keep moving forward, no matter how hard it gets. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't let fear, doubt, or delay steal your future. Start now. Take that first step, then the next, and keep going. Because the truth is simple and unshakable. If you want changes, you must take action.